It was captured in 1882, somewhere in the American South. Clear's throat, a black family formal, composed, dressed in their finest, stands inside a photography studio. At first glance it resembles countless other portraits from that time, a moment preserved, a family proud enough to pay for the chance to be remembered. But look again. One member of this family, a young girl standing at the far edge of the frame, holds something in her eyes that went unnoticed for more than 140 years. Something that, when a genetic historian finally examined the photograph under digital magnification, left him completely silent. Because what he discovered wasn't just a physical detail. It was a key, a biological key, encoded in her DNA. One that had survived slavery, endured erasure, passed through generations of silence, and was now about to reveal the true origin of an entire family whose history had been deliberately wiped away. This is the story of what was hidden in that little girl's eyes, and it will change how you think about identity, ancestry, and what DNA remembers even when history does not. Before we begin, if stories like this resonate with you, if you believe forgotten histories deserve to be told, subscribe to the channel and leave a like. It takes just 2 seconds and it means everything. Now, let's return to 1882. Dr. James Ockoffer had spent 15 years rebuilding lost genealogies. His office at Howard University in Washington, D.C., was lined with framed photographs not of his own family, but of strangers. People whose names had been erased, whose stories had been swallowed by time. Every frame on his wall marked a case he had solved, a life reclaimed. The morning Diane arrived, it was raining. She was in her early 50s, wearing a gray coat, holding a flat cardboard envelope close to her chest with both arms, as if shielding something irreplaceable from the storm outside. "My grandmother left this to me," she said, gently placing it on his desk, "and her grandmother left it to her. We don't know who these people are, no names, no origins, nothing." James opened the envelope carefully. Inside was an 8 by 10 photograph mounted on thick cardboard, a cabinet card, the standard portrait format of the 1880s. It was remarkably well preserved. The edges had browned and slightly warped, but the image itself remained sharp. A family of 7 stood inside what appeared to be a studio. Behind them, a painted garden backdrop, common for the era. The father stood at the center, tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in a dark suit and tie. His expression was composed, almost stern, the result of long exposure times requiring absolute stillness. Beside him, likely the mother, sat in a wooden chair, wearing a high-collared blouse, hands folded neatly in her lap. Around them, 5 children were arranged with care, 2 older boys standing to the left, 2 younger girls seated on a low bench in front, and 1 youngest girl, perhaps 7 or 8, standing slightly apart at the far right. At the bottom of the card in faded ink was a date, October 14, 1882. No names, no location, no studio mark, only the faint outline of one that had been deliberately scraped away. James studied the image in silence. Then he picked up a magnifying glass. "Has anyone ever examined this closely?" he asked. Diane shook her head. "Not really. We always thought it was just a portrait." He began scanning the photograph slowly, methodically, left to right, top to bottom, searching for clues, clothing styles, furniture, photographic quality. He noted details, the boys' high-collared suits suggesting the early 1880s, the painted backdrop typical of Southern studios during Reconstruction, the quality of the materials indicating a professional photographer. This family had chosen to be photographed, and by someone skilled. Then his lens reached the youngest girl at the far right. He paused. Her face was turned slightly toward the camera, as if she had shifted just before the shutter clicked. Both eyes were visible, and they were not the same. Even in sepia, the difference stood out. Her left eye was dark, deep, and uniform. But her right eye was lighter, much lighter. Where one absorbed light, the other reflected it, pale, almost gray. James slowly lowered the magnifying glass. He moved to his digital scanner. Within 12 minutes, the photograph was scanned at high resolution and displayed on his monitor. Using enhancement software, he adjusted contrast, sharpened details, refined clarity without altering the original. When he zoomed in on the girl's face, he leaned back and said nothing for a long time. The right eye was blue-gray. Unmistakably so, a black child, 1882, one brown eye, one blue-gray eye. He turned to Diane. "Tell me everything you know about this family," he said. Everything? She knew almost nothing. The photograph had passed through 4 generations of women, always with the same instruction. Asterisk, keep this. It matters. Asterisk, but no one knew why. No names, no letters, no records. My great-grandmother got it from someone she called the old woman, Diane said. That's all I know. James nodded, already searching his database. He pulled up a medical reference. Waardenburg syndrome, type 2A, autosomal dominant, a genetic condition affecting pigmentation. Eyes, skin, hair. Key features: heterochromia different, colored eyes and a white forelock of hair, autosomal dominant. That meant only one parent needed to carry it, and it would appear again and again across generations. If the girl had it, it didn't start with her. James spent the afternoon re-examining the photograph. The older boys, no visible signs. The father, dark, symmetrical eyes, the mother partially shadowed. Then he looked at the second girl. No heterochromia, but at her hairline a patch, bright white, not gray, not faded, a white forelock. The same condition expressed differently. 2 siblings, same mutation, same parent. He called his colleague Dr. Patricia Ewan. "I need you to look at something," he said, "tomorrow morning." The next day, Patricia arrived prepared. She studied the image closely, zooming in, analyzing. "The shadow isn't hiding her eyes," she said finally. "It's hiding her hair." They enhanced the image further at the mother's temple, barely visible, a lighter strip of hair. "The same trait. She's the carrier," Patricia said quietly. From there, the investigation deepened into Friedman's bureau records, slave manifests, genetic databases. A name emerged: Eliza. A labor contract from 1866 described her. Asterisk, one eye brown, one eye gray, blue. Asterisk later, a shipping manifest from 1849. Asterisk, eyes different. Asterisk, the same genetic marker. The same woman, the mother in the photograph, and through DNA testing, the trail extended further back to West Africa. Sierra Leone, the Mende people. Then came the letter, written in 1891. A woman, once called something else, describing her life. Her capture, the journey, the loss of her name. And one line: "My mother had eyes that did not match, one dark as river mud, one pale as morning sky." A trait passed down. A sign of origin, a memory written into the body itself. The trail led to the Sewer River Valley in Sierra Leone. A family erased by history, yet preserved in biology. James thought of the little girl in the photograph standing slightly apart, one eye dark, one pale, unaware that the very thing that made her different would one day uncover her entire lineage. Some things survive everything, even when names are lost, even when records are destroyed, even when history forgets. DNA does not. It cannot be burned, erased, or renamed. It waits, and sometimes after enough time, someone finally learns how to read it.